I think when someone close to you has a stroke, the initial reaction is shock that has it really happened? That's something that happens to someone else. I was on a book signing tour down in Melbourne and got a message from Lynette's father to say that Lynette had been taken away in an ambulance, and that's always something I dreaded as a sports person, being away for a lot of my career, was getting that phone call where there was something wrong with your family.
I wasn't aware of any stroke symptoms, definitely none at all. I mean, I started with a headache and put myself to bed thinking that it would go. I got up to go to the bathroom and I noticed that my balance wasn't quite right, and I thought, that feels really strange. And then just came back and laid down again, and then my father came up, and it was actually my father that decided it was time to take action of what was happening, because when he spoke to me I couldn't actually answer him. My final memory of being at home was actually somebody looking at me very closely on the bed, which was actually the fellows from the ambulance. And my answer to them was something about blue eggs, was my reply, and that's what I've been told. But I got into the ambulance, and then I don't really have any memories after that. The
first bit of information I got was from the hospital at Sutherland. They said that Lynette had a CT scan and it had showed a bleed on her brain the size of a squash ball. And by the time I got to the hospital, Lynette was pretty much fighting for her life. It was sort of touch and go, 50-50 really, and no guarantee she was going to make it through to the morning. Lynette had an AVM, arterial venous malformation, which a lot of people are born with. Most times nothing actually ever happens, but with hers, it's a cluster of little veins that one of those had a slow leak.
Having a stroke is an unusual experience to start with. It leaves you sort of cocooned. So I was actually in hospital and I didn't actually understand why I was there, but I also didn't question while I was there. It was just this peaceful place, it's hard to explain, but there was people coming and going, there was people asking me to test for this and that. There was a lot of like trips for all sorts of
different
testings to try to work out what happened, what my problems will be following on.
I don't think she was aware I was there, but she was sort of in and out of consciousness and not making a lot of sense and couldn't really hear what I was saying, so she was sort of, I guess, in a semi-comatose state. The first couple of days was just a really a battle really to make sure that she survived. I mean, once you have an operation, then I didn't realise, but the next 24 hours after a brain operation, there's a chance that the brain can swell up with the bleeding and you can still have major issues.
Recovery, the first thing I learnt with is it doesn't just happen in a few days, few weeks or a few months. It's a very long process, and you have to practice again and again and again in order to get complete recovery. For me, it was over a year before I could even multitask.
It's good sometimes to have a reminder that you've got to be careful of these things.
There's certain elements that you can't control. I think like risks you can control, like age, gender, stroke family history, the fact that you've had a stroke before. What I can control are certain risk elements which will lead me down a path to prevent that from happening again. Tracking your blood pressure, I think, is important because that's a major factor in a stroke. To have a stroke at such a young age has made me actually become stroke safe. So going to the chemist for me is important because you've got to know your numbers.
It's quite simply just answer a set of questions, get your blood pressure checked, make sure your cholesterol level's at the right level.
Stroke risk assessment is a step to prevention, and that's what's important.